Hi everyone. I'm Zach, one of the film reporters here at Deadline, and today we're going to be talking about The Piano Lesson, Malcolm Washington's adaptation of August Wilson's seminal play. So if you could please welcome my guest, director Malcolm Washington. Actors John David Washington and Danielle Deadwyler.
Oh my damn, that was terrible.
And composer Alexandre Desplat. And we're going to start with a clip from the film.
You feel that? That's your family. That's your blood. Sometimes you be in trouble. They might be around to help you. Tell your mama to tell you about that piano. Ask her how them pictures got on there. You feel that? That's your family. That's your blood.
Thank you. I think this is such an impressive debut, and one of the things that's so impressive about it is how invested it is in cinematic language. You know, there aren't these great sweeping shots or this sort of dramatic lighting just because they look nice. It's like they're here to convey information, which is rare in contemporary cinema, but even rarer when the source material is literary. So I wondered, how did you go about composing these scenes for these films to really convey information? And equally for John David and Danielle, how was it? How did that impact how you work on the screen?
So first, thank you all for coming. It's so exciting to celebrate this movie with y'all. Appreciate it. It's been such a warm reception over here. This is a new part of the world for me, and to bring the people that I think are the most talented people that in my life that I've got to work with, Alexandre, John David, Danielle. It's beautiful to come here together with y'all. And for your question, there's such a beautiful poetry and rhythm to the dialogue that's inherent to the text. August Wilson, he's playing musically on a level, and I knew that when we were adapting it to the screen, we wanted to take the job of adaptation seriously and respect the medium in which we're working, and that inherently meant a deep consideration of image and sound, how they function together, when you separate the two, and I wanted to set it up immediately to say let the audience know what kind of film that we're making, what you're getting into. So the first 7 minutes is like not any dialogue at all. It's just image and music and sound design to kind of clear the way and reset your palette to what you're gonna get into.
And for the actors, what was that sort of challenge like?
You said challenges? Because that's not what I was composing in my head. Okay. Here we go. There's no preconceived framing that Malcolm laid upon us. I think we were just driven by heart. We were driven by character intention. We were driven by the speculative imaginings that were a part of the conversations that we were having. And so he gave us free range, particularly during rehearsals, before starting shooting, rehearsals that were at the top of day. And that gave us an intuitive movement throughout the space, and those ideas and the way that we engaged each other enabled him to craft whatever he did with the camera, because I just believe in being wholly and utterly trustworthy of my director. I don't look at, playbacks. I don't do any of that. It's about us being enriched within each other and enabling him to be as full as he has to be for the work.
Yeah, well said. Hello. Yeah, well said. Yeah, our responsibility was to the text and honoring August Wilson, and he's so poetic, and his character interiority is so full and masterful that there's plenty of information, whether it's in the film or not, to use as an actor to perform. And so knowing that and knowing how Malcolm operated, which was free, which was cohesive, which was inclusive, it made it such a wonderful experience to explore and to maybe fail, try some things within the context of what we're doing and to honor August Wilson's words, but it was all there. And knowing that he's opening up the film, the music, through cinematography, with the words that August wrote, it made it easier to concentrate on uplifting the text, which is so beautifully written.
You both mentioned there sort of the poetry of August Wilson's work, which is the thing that everybody sort of discusses when they talk about him. There's such a rhythm to the dialogue and to the stories that sort of draws you in. And I guess it's what people have described as the soul in his work. And that's not something that exists here in this film also, but it's not something that's tangible. It's not you can't just take the dialogue and there'll be soul there. So how did you go about adapting that?
That was a really tricky process, to be honest with you, because you want to honor what you're doing, but at the same time, you have to. I'm a filmmaker making a film that you have to make choices. You're putting it through the prism of yourself, even though you're not trying to get in the way, but you just have to speak a truth. So it was finding the balance between, just in the dialogue alone. It took a lot of repetition, hearing it a lot, and it took the approach that we kind of took was kind of to break it. And then see what was missing when we broke it apart too much, and fill in with new stuff. And we wanted to always keep it alive. So there's moments like the first day we're on set, they're ad-libbing. It's like, excellent, amazing. Let's like be free with this thing. Let's take it. And it was you.
Ad-libbing.
It was you.
Never.
Yeah.
August, we would never. We would never.
But it was so fearless. It was so fearless because everybody's coming in afraid to break this thing that's so precious. And right away we're like, okay, we're making our film. There's a lot of versions of this that exist, and this one is ours. And we're gonna pass it through our filter of honesty and truth and vulnerability, and put ourselves on the line in that way. And fine tune it to the point where when you get to the end, the spirit of it is there. The words are singing. The images are now coming along with it, and we're trying to craft a full cinematic experience where you feel all the feelings. We're using all the tools.
I want to ask you about one of the biggest someone who has one of the biggest presence in the film is Samuel L. Jackson, and I remember one time in a past job I was sort of assigned to cover a film he was working on. And the PR, who was a black woman, sort of said to me, I asked if I could interview him. She sort of said to me, Sam, don't play. So I wondered, with that context, what was it like to direct him as a first-time filmmaker?
Yeah.
But also working with him on screen.
She wasn't lying. She was telling you the truth. But, if you're not familiar with his connection to the material, Sam originated the role of Boy Willie that John David played on stage like 37 years ago. So he's as much an expert on this exact play as anybody on earth. And what he brought with that was so much experience and generosity to share stories and support us as that uncle. So he was really like the uncle on set that was cracking jokes, talking shit, keeping it free, but also brought that reverence, right? Brought the legacy of August in the room with us every day to kind of keep our North Star in place as what we're working towards, what we're marching to. So directing him was honestly a dream. It was a job of a lifetime, and I'm so honored to enter this game with him, kind of holding me up. So I have nothing but love for that collaboration.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. He's nothing but a teddy bear. He's a sweet man. No, Sam was fantastic. He's like a conductor on the train, right? Like this play. This film is about Black cultural rhythms, and he's like the conductor. He's moving all about, aiding you in a certain kind of way. He has such a rich history with the film, with the play, and he knows every single word inside out. I kid you not. Like, if you were having a lapse, it may have been a temporary lapse, he gonna give you a line, right? And that kind of boosting and support and giving the confidence, it gives a confidence to you. And so he's super strong in giving us a foundation to do what we do.
There's not much to add to that. He's a Wilsonian. I want to shout out Michael Potts as well, though. Their presence on set really helped encourage me and embolden me to be the best artist I can be. Because of their experience, because of their experience with the play and August Wilson's work specifically. I mean, Mr. Potts has done like all of his plays as well. So knowing that we got the okay from them, like we're okay to do this and try and go for it, meant a lot to me, and I'm forever grateful for it.
Awesome. Considering the film's name is The Piano Lesson, there's so much music in the film, and it's almost like it's like a kaleidoscope of different kind of music. There's the score, which runs through, and it's so haunting. But then there's what sounds like contemporary music. It could be like contemporary, like West African jazz, like at some parts. And there's the music that you perform in the film. I wondered. This is usually a boring question, but a composer like yourself, who has kind of done everything, why did you decide to hop onto a film from a first-time filmmaker? What was intriguing about it to you?
It's the title. Because actually I'm not a pianist, so I wanted to learn. No, the piano is the center of the story. It's the piano that brings us, to understand and to enter into the tragic of this family and their past, and it's like if this piece of wood standing in the middle of a house was just sending messages from the past. So it's a good start for the composer to find ideas. We are, as a composer, I'm haunted by 2,000 years or maybe plus of music. So yeah, and talking about the acting, I mean, of course, there's this incredible way that Malcolm loves the actors. Obviously, he likes the performances of his colleagues, filmmakers on stage, on the set. But on top of that, he's added this supernatural dimension. So it's this piano, the supernatural, incredible acting, all these things, they could not appeal to me. I had to go.
Awesome. The ending of the film is obviously that there's I don't want to spoil it, but there's the piano performance, kind of performance at the end that Danielle gives, and then that.
Has everybody seen the movie? No? Okay.
You're in for a treat.
Take it back. Don't say.
Forget about that.
Forget it.
Anyways.
Anyways, but then after the. Actually, I don't know if I can ask this question then. But there is a song by a musician who is very enigmatic at the end of the. Can I say? Yeah. Okay, yeah. There's a Frank Ocean song at the end of the film, and it's. It's so striking because it's from the 2016 album that came out, the visual album, not Blonde, Endless, and it's so striking. And I wondered, where did that choice come from? Was that you, or you like where did that come
Yeah. So when we started,
it was not me.
But when we first started working together, we talked a lot about music. Not obviously, but not in relation to the movie, just what we like. We had a lengthy conversation about Quincy Jones, and I learned how big of a Quincy Jones fan. I thought I was a big Quincy Jones fan. You were like breaking it down, and as he was so beautifully putting before, there's music is so much at the center of the story, and as much as it is, it's an intergenerational story, and it's a story where it's a network of stories of the Black experience across space and time, and I knew that I wanted to honor the space and time. So with a lot of the cues, there's some diasporic. It's representing the diaspora, right? There's West African stuff. There's stuff in the Caribbean, and I knew that we wanted to represent contemporary Black America in some way, and landing the movie kind of there as our end credit cue felt like really, really right. It was really soulful in a way that was nice, and it just sat in the movie beautifully. We were working on the movie up into the end and trying all kind of stuff always. Like, it was very much alive and fluid. And that was something that when we found that at the end, it was just like, okay, this is how it was. Like, it felt like a benediction. If you've been in church, it's like what the at the end of the service, the preacher gives you a parting message, and the choir will play you out, and it's like, okay, we'll play you out here, and that'll kind of ripple through your experience when you think back on the movie.
No, for sure. I was watching in one of these sort of like critic screenings, and people usually shoot out of those, but this one, everybody was just kind of sitting there like, I can't leave, like, you know.
It's Frank. You gotta sit around for Frank.
But I think we're out of time. So guys, thank you so much for joining me, and guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.